Hey, what's up, Edmonton? This is Ryan with Hauer Power Electrical here, and today I have with us Jared with Triple M Painting and Oscar with the Tile Experts. So today what we're going to go over is kitchens, kitchen renovations, kitchen remodels, and what all ties into that as far as under cabinet lighting, as far as painting the cabinets, and as far as the backsplash, the tile. So let's start with Jared. Jared, tell us about yourself, about Triple M Painting, and about how you work with kitchens and kitchen cabinets.
Awesome, thanks, Ryan. I own Triple M Painting. We've been in the business for over 20 years. I have a team of really competent professionals of over 10 years of experience, and we're really confident that your kitchen would look beautiful after it's finished.
Nice. Oscar, tell us about yourself, Tile Experts.
I'm the co-founder of the Tile Experts. We have a team of over 6 installers, 12 years running, and over 30 years of experience. Sometimes we do get a call for a kitchen backsplash, but they might need a little cabinet painting or some lighting done. So that's where you guys come in.
Amazing. So yeah, we'll dive right in there. As far as electrical with under cabinet lighting, you can get toe kick lighting, you can get under cabinet lighting like what we have behind us here, and you can also get fascia lighting or soffit lighting, whatever you want to call it. We can make the tops of your cabinets really glow. And so when it comes to a kitchen, you really got to have the right pros in place, whether it's your tile guys, your painters, your electricians, for it to all come together. With a kitchen renovation, that's going to be the highest value add that you can bring to your home, whether you live in Glenora, Crestwood. Where's your neighborhood at?
Highlands or Laurier Heights. We've been called there lots for some of those stuff. Yeah,
Laurier Heights. Those are all target areas for the dream kitchen. So if you live in those areas and you want to upgrade your kitchen, you can pretty much get your value back 100% of the time. Even in a lesser known area, you can get some really good value out of a kitchen because that's the number one spot that appraises the house in value. So with that said, Oscar, with tile in a kitchen and a kitchen remodel and a kitchen renovation, what do you like to see with tile and what a homeowner is looking for? What does that experience look like?
Well, when a client calls and they're like, hey, we're looking to get a kitchen backsplash done, sometimes I walk in and it hasn't been touched yet. So they're like, yeah, this is our current backsplash. We're gonna change our countertops. We're gonna put new cabinet facing. We're gonna do some undermount lighting. So they talk about all these things. So it brings me up to you guys. So then when I think about the entire project and what he's going to do, then they start talking about, do I want mosaic? Do I wanna go on the hexagonal? Do I want to tie the countertop with the backsplash, with the flooring tones? So we go through the whole process. I send them to some of our partners, suppliers, and then after they decide, then we can, go to the next step.
Nice. Yeah, that's decent. So with Jared, when you come into a kitchen and the homeowner says, hey, I want to make my kitchen beautiful and I have a budget, so I don't want to replace all the cabinets, what do you do? What's that experience look like with you?
Great question. So the big thing with painting cabinets is we are the budget option. I think everybody would love a new $40,000 cabinet, set of cabinets in their house, but that's not always possible. So a big time thing is we can come in and we can take care of painting the doors, the drawers, and the sides and really give you a quick update without spending the huge money.
Nice, that's good to know. So as far as kitchen updates, as far as cabinet updates, do you do vinyl wrap? Do you do painting? Do you do more trim? Like what does that process look like when we hire Triple M?
Great question. So we have an awesome product called Command from Benjamin Moore. It sprays on, it's got a primer inside of it, and it has a scratch test resistance within an hour, which is incredible. Just
wow.
So
that's
some nerdy painter stuff, right? But it's great stuff. We can spray it on and it looks factory finished within minutes. And then we can take care of all that. A couple things that we can't do is take it back to the wood and restain. Mostly what we're looking to do is coat it with an actual solid color.
Nice. Okay. So as far as sanding it and bringing it back to an original wood finish, that's not something that would really be feasible?
Again, it comes down to your budget. And if you're really looking at having those things refinished, maybe you might want to consider getting some new cabinets as well.
Okay, that makes sense. For stains, I think for stains, that's pretty uncommon anyways, though. Paint is more common.
Yeah, exactly. And again, remember, we're looking to get the best out of something that we have. Again, if you go really crazy, you can, but why not just get something new once we get too far into the budget?
Yeah. How
You had
much
something?
curing time is there to that paint?
Yeah, great question too. So this new stuff is, like I said, it's recoat time within an hour. It's cured in about 4, which is basically unheard of. A lot of paints you can spray, and within a few hours, you could probably take your fingernail and scratch it because it hasn't adhered as well.
Yeah,
This stuff will be scratch-proof within an hour,
very
which is
impressive.
awesome. And that's why we love it on the cabinets, because you are using your hands. You have your hands full with utensils and stuff, and it takes a beating around the hardware.
Yeah,
Right? So we need something that can stand up to that over the use.
very cool.
That's good. So with your timeline as far as a kitchen, I mean, the big thing with the kitchen renovation is you have no stove, you have no sink for a duration of months. And so what are you going to do? McDonald's can only get you so far. So it sounds like repainting the cabinets might actually be a solid opportunity to save someone a lot of time in their home. Is that fair to say? What does that look like for you?
That's an awesome add to what we're doing as well. When you take out those important things like a fridge and a sink, you can't make any food. For us, all we do is we take off your doors. You have full use of your cabinets inside and your drawers. You just might be able to see inside. So I guess hide the things that you want to hide.
Yeah. And how long would it take for taking the doors down to putting them back on and everything wrapped up?
We can take care of the whole frame in a day. And the same day, we would take all the doors and we keep them in our shop for a couple of days. It would only take a day to actually do the painting, but we like to just let it dry and cure for a few days before we transport again. Last thing you want is a few nicks on the way there, and then we have to redo it all.
So Oscar, what does the timeline look like for the tile with the kitchen inside of kind of a size kitchen you'd see here?
Yeah, so ideally we would come in day one, do the demo, which when we do the demo of the tile, 100% of the time the board, the drywall underneath gets damaged enough that we're like, it's not salvageable. So we would remove all of the boarding in here all the way. And then if you're doing undermount lighting, then there's an opening for you to bring in wiring or see where they might be to piggyback. I'm not sure how you would go about it, but there is the opening. And so while it's all open and rough, they get new counters. You could come and do the painting, take the doors off. Then when we come back, board it all up and tile, then you could come and install your doors back, or before. It really doesn't matter when you put them back. And then, we grout and silicone and good to go.
Not bad. So realistically, if everything in a perfect world were to be done with an existing kitchen, existing cabinets, we could have this done inside of a week. However, to really give a good buffer, inside of 2 weeks, you could have a kitchen renovation done. Whereas if you were to hire a general contractor and they manage it, it might be outside of a couple months or more, depending on how far in you go. And you might be able to shave a digit off that final bill too, hiring pros like yourself, myself, and Triple M Painting to get this going.
That's right.
Easy.
Yeah, for sure.
Not bad. So Oscar, with your tile with backsplash with kitchens, you mentioned this tile in the back here, this subway tile. What do you like to see? What do you advise homeowners of? And what are the top 3 things to watch out for when tiling a backsplash?
Yeah, so like I said before, here in the Edmonton area, when we get called and they want the subway tile installation, you can have the 3x6, the 4x12, the 2x8, and sometimes they would really like to have like a herringbone pattern. So we can do that too. Or, in this stove area, if you open up a little, we can also do an inlay in the middle of the stove, which would be like a nice piece, feature piece as an accent. And so sometimes they have the horizontal brick lay, and inside the inlay, we would do herringbone to have an accent. Cool. Yeah. So challenges is 3x6 subway is or those kind of subway tiles are very porous. So when we are laying it and grouting it, it sucks the moisture out of our materials. So we just are more meticulous and particular about the way that we do that. And then what was the other question?
Yeah, I guess other things to watch out for. Yeah, with backsplash. Yeah. They want other designs. Maybe, I don't know if a 12x12 design would be fit for a backsplash if someone wanted to have a large scale format tile. What do you advise clients to watch out for and not do? What's as far as trending?
Yeah. So the other thing, I guess, with all of it is boarding. So when we do the demo, the drywall gets damaged enough that if we do in small format, and we don't really patch it or anything, you could see the surface revealing any imperfections. So brand new boarding. And if you want to do large format, it would look great, because especially with this marble veining kind of thing, if we do 24 by 48 or bigger, you could do very small amount of pieces, and it would look pretty neat. Or, you know, some people really like a subway or a mosaic. So when you go mosaic, we have some like small hexagonal mosaics or penny tile. There's just too much out there to even name. But yeah, we have done natural stone, we have done the metals, we have done the glass, we have done even like gold flaked marble. Yeah, there's been a lot of different kinds.
So for good, better, best, as an electrician doing under cabinet lighting, good would be pot lights, better would be under cabinet lighting, and best would be under cabinet lighting, toe kick lighting, fascia soffit lighting, lighting for days, all on dimmer switches with color changing options.
That's some sensors.
Oh yeah, motion sensors, and you can have them timed, you can have themes, you can have NFC cards, so you put your phone down and
Wow.
it reads a certain theme. You can go as far as you want with it, depending how much you want to spend. So with that said, correlating to the tile, and then we'll get to the painting side of things too.
Yeah.
What does a good, better, best look like for you with regards to aesthetic trends, subway tile installs, how far it's going to go up, accents? What's a good, better, best look like for tile?
Yeah, so good. Sometimes people just want like 2 rows of backsplash, so you would just go 6 inches tall, but we barely see that anymore. So then good would be, yeah, any subway tile would be nice because it's timeless, it's elegant. You come into an Edmonton home from like the 1900s, early 1900s, you can see subway. You come to a home today, you see the 3x6 subway. And again, it's elegant. It doesn't really like, you know, you think about the 2007 and all of the strips in the middle of the design, and you just know when that home was built because of that. Where subway, it takes its lifetime. Yeah, you can see it every day and you'll be like, yeah, that looks good. So that's good. Better, yeah, when you want a mosaic, you could really add more personality, more character to it if you want to make it more like a feature. And then best would be an inlay design in the middle of your install, because it just creates even more of a wow factor. Yeah.
Nice. That's great. Okay, I like that. Yeah. So as far as this kitchen here, this was done well. It's timeless, but you could go a step further and have more designs. You could have an inlay above your sink or above your stove to give an accent piece.
Yeah, and it's really working with the design of the kitchen. Like if you have the real estate to show tile and glorious amounts of space, then yeah. But if you don't, then it's like strategic tiling the amount of space so that it really shows, and it like gives you, again, the wow factor. Even if you didn't go best, but you are still in the good, better, it just looks really good. It looks really neat. Yeah.
Nice. So on the painting side of things, when you have a good, better, best, maybe you have a client who's just doing a rental property and they want an update on their kitchen, or maybe you have someone moving into a starter home, or maybe you have someone with their forever home. What does a good, better, best option look like for the paint as far as Edmonton and area for kitchen?
Definitely not as high tech as you guys, but it's got, well, I would say usually it becomes multiple colors. So a single color would probably be at the base. As things get more robust, a lot of the times people like a dark color on the bottom and something light on top, so we go multiple colors.
Yeah.
Generally, when we get into your house, we use a brush and a roller, but we can make it look like a sprayed finish. But if to the trained eye, you'd be able to tell. So another upgrade that you could do is actually have us spray the skeleton or frame that I'm talking about, as well as the doors. It's a bit of a mess and a little bit more work, so that's why it kind of gets a little better. But if you have that taste and that eye, definitely I would go for it.
Nice.
Spray. Okay.
So with that said, a kitchen's a high traffic area. Same with bathrooms. Would you use a different kind of paint in a kitchen as opposed to maybe a bedroom?
Definitely. Like I said earlier, you're not touching walls, or maybe if you are, it's tapping and things. But as we get to opening cabinet doors with our hands full, with utensils in there, our keys, I don't know what it would be, things hit the paint and they kick its butt, right? Gypsum is a very small, like gypsum and drywall, it's very soft material. No paint's going to be able to hold up to that. But when it comes to this stuff, you got to get the really solid stuff. And it's probably 3 times the cost of what normal wall paint, but it's worth it. And like I said, those scratch tests, those things hold up long term for years.
Yeah, I've painted my few kitchen cabinets, and I like what you're saying.
Let me guess. There's a bunch of stuff, and you can see the wood in and around where the hardware is.
Maybe.
That's what I'm talking. I'll tell you this too. I've gone back to my friends' places years later, and it's always rough. And you know that's I'm sure you guys have done it too, and you're proud of it because not only did I do something that looks nice, it's held up over time.
That's a solid point, because yeah, in the kitchens, I mean, if you're a Canadian born like any of us, at the end of the day, Canadians party where? in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, people are cracking bottles, people are scratching, people are leaning. Like all of us are leaning all over everything. But yeah, in the bedrooms, I mean, you go in the bed and you do your thing, but you got the walls, they're not getting banged on. So yeah, maybe the walls are getting banged on in here, but realistically, yeah, that's
an ideal surface.
Make sure that, yeah, when you're marking up on these cabinets, yeah, it has to be a solid paint and not just a regular interior paint. That's a really solid point that an electrician wouldn't necessarily think of.
Yeah, true. So Jared, what is some of the other challenges that a client might face when you get in and they might want to change some things in the cabinets, handles, or anything like that?
Awesome. So when we get into the place first, we take off all the hardware, we spray up the doors, and occasionally people want new hardware. If you look at some of the hardware in this kitchen, it's got some very large pieces that are quite wide, not standard on most places. So we can fill those holes, and we also offer installation of the new stuff, and we can even price out giving you or picking up the material for it as well.
Nice.
Updates on handles, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
makes a huge difference.
I could see that making a huge difference for sure. That's something that the electrician really wouldn't touch on, tiling wouldn't really touch on, but the painting, that's 100% in your alley.
It's really those final details. It's your clean and tidy shoes,
exactly,
your brand new suit, right? It's those tiny things that add the lasting impression.
Yeah. So when you do spray, which is like almost the best option to go with if you want a high-end finish, what do you like? Protect the floors, tape all the cabinets? Do you seal up the unit? Do you tell us more about all the process?
Yeah, the spray, it's so tiny, so little. It's surgical in where it can go. And before you know it, you'll think there's some dust on your oven, but really it's some overspray. So you've got to mask everything right down. And the beauty of this is part of the tile is not on yet. Maybe even the countertop isn't there. So those kind of things, but the floors are masked. The place looks like a crime scene. It's absolutely wrapped up. Maybe I'll call it a Dexter's.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Nice.
Crime scene, but it's wrapped top to bottom. We don't want to get anything on the ceilings. And then here's the thing: even with spraying, holes get poked, things get missed. The beauty of painting is just about anything can either be cleaned, fixed, or replaced. So we are 100% on top of it. If there's a mistake on our part, we're here to fix it.
That's a really good solid point. Yeah,
that's true.
You need a Dexter level scene in order to paint safely, and I think that's probably a big part of why people wouldn't want to DIY something like this. So let's touch on why you wouldn't not want to DIY a kitchen remodel. At the end of the day,
actually, before we go there, we talked about cleanliness when it comes down to painting. Why don't you tell us about cleaning and cleanliness during your part of the job?
Okay.
In the process of doing all this,
because everyone knows an electrician is.
I was going to say, as an electrician, we don't clean. Someone showed me a broom once. I wasn't sure what it was. No, our electricians do have brooms and vacuums in the vents. However, being that we're at the start of the stage and the end of the stage, cleaning does plague our trade. We're wizards. We're not cleaners, and so we have a bad stigma that way. But our electricians do clean up after ourselves. With that said, too, when we come in, typically on rough-in stage, it's still going to be open stud. There's still going to be paint that has to happen. There's still going to be touch-ups that need to happen. When we come on finishing stage, however, usually our guys are wearing latex gloves for the pot lights so that they're not leaving dirty fingerprints all over that matte white ceiling. When it comes to the plugs and the backsplash on the tile, everything else can really be cleaned up. And typically the painters get the luxury of being the last final ones in because everything gets dinged. Whether we like it or not, the tile guys, maybe their knee pad had a little pebble in it and that left a dent in a drywall somewhere. Or the electricians, maybe, God forbid, bumped a ladder into a wall. At the end of the day, those things, they don't happen with our guys like very often at all, maybe once a year.
At Hauer Power, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, realistically, boy, I can't brace a homeowner enough. At the end of the day, if you're having renovations and work done in your home, things are gonna go wrong. But it's about that relationship of, are they gonna make it right? And that's what we do. Just like what Jared said, when you have a pinhole and something that way, then you're gonna have issues and you got to get it cleaned up. So it's about how you handle it. When you pick your contractor, go with your gut feeling and go with someone who, when something goes wrong, do you fight with them well? If there's someone that can't take constructive criticism, if there's someone that can't listen to your needs, then when something does go wrong, because there is a chance that it will, then you might have an issue.
Communication, very important.
Yeah, communication. If your trades aren't answering their calls, if they're not getting their quotes out to you right away, if they're not following up on those quotes, and if they don't want that work, that's communication before you've even paid them. How's it going to be?
And a little bit of respect too for each other's time too. Yeah. So there's that. Yeah.
Respect goes a long way that way.
100%.
Yeah. How does it look like for cleaning with tile?
Well, we do make a mess when we come demo the job, but luckily it's before they've replaced the counters or they have done anything at all. However, we still protect the counters. We put protective on the entire surface. We take small batches of demo at a time, so we're not putting a huge drop on the surface. And we get rid of it all. We make sure it's clean, vacuumed when we leave, so that the homeowner comes back as if it never happened. Just they can see inside the studs now. And then after that, whether they have gotten new countertops or not, we again put the protective on it so that we can drywall and tile and everything is clean when we're done. Especially if we're using, so grouting is something that we've actually learned with time. The darker grouts like charcoal grout does sometimes, even if it's sealed properly, stains the countertops. So we take extra precaution with the counters when we're grouting. Yeah.
That checks out. Yeah. At the end of the day, everything can get stained. Red wine.
We do have something to pick with the electricians though.
Oh yeah, what do you got?
Actually, it's the other way around. So when we tile, those outlets that we can see around here, sometimes our guys don't go high enough and low enough where your screws go into. So we get a call back. But it hasn't been a while since we got that call.
Yeah, I should warn you, that's not wood. Ever. I thank you for that.
Yeah, that came back biting me.
When we drill in those 632 holes to fasten our devices, our plugs, our USB plugs, our switches, when we put in those 632 holes and there's a piece of tile in the way, boy, that's the pain in the butt. For our team, we do have Dremels in the van with concrete as well as zip discs. And so they can go out and they can zip disc that up to save the tile guy a revisit. But
that is fantastic.
I know, it's unheard of. However, that is something that we will do so that we can get the plugs done for that homeowner. The pain in the butt is when a tile guy it doesn't happen often. Also
it's not wood.
Doesn't happen often, but sometimes the tile guys have buried receptacles, especially when the boxes aren't set flush to that depth of that tile.
Oh yeah.
So one of the big constraints that we have, the conversations that we have with homeowners, is we ask them, hey, are you gonna have a marble backsplash? Are you gonna have a tile backsplash? Is it coming out a half of an inch, an eighth of an inch, 1 full inch? We've had backsplashes that come out 2 inches off the wall. And so that's sizable amount of difference. So if we have our metal box secured in that wall 2 inches back, and then the tile guy doesn't see it, maybe he goes over it, well, that's a pain in the butt. So usually what we'll have to do is install what's called spark rings, or we can install box extenders on rough in stage if we know how deep that tile is going to be beforehand. That finished floor, that finished height, that finished wall, we need to know that dimension.
You bring up a do-it-yourself kind of approach. We've run into maybe a couple this year that the homeowner had tiled on top of tile. So then they had built up enough to be about 2 inches or 1.5 inches. So when we started doing the demo, we're like, wait a minute, there is more tile. So there was some work around electrical. Yeah,
There's more.
there's more work. But we took care of it, and the client ended up happy, and everything was great. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. At the end of the day, we've come across that too. When you open up the walls, what we're talking about a lot of is more remodels, redoing cabinets, redoing the backsplash, redoing fixtures, and nothing down to bare studs. However, when you do dive in deep, especially in an older kitchen in the 50s in areas like Ada Boulevard, when we open up those old kitchens in Ada Boulevard, a lot of the time there's been four generations of renovations where electricians have capped off circuits or spliced off circuits, and it wasn't done up to code because our code changes every 3 years. And so realistically, even if it was done 10 years ago and it was done great, it's not up to today's code. So once we open that up, it opened up a whole box of tricks, because now we have to bring it up to current codes, which means we have to open up more walls.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about doing a kitchen renovation on a budget of updating faces, maybe adding a couple small things.
Yeah. You did mention earlier before that sometimes you utilize the previous carburetors or other circuits to piggyback. Like, yeah, tell us more about that.
Yeah, as far as under cabinet lighting, we have to do it one of two ways. It's either going to be low voltage with LVT cabling and a strip tape, maybe a flexible strip tape, or it's going to be high voltage, 120 volt with maybe a fixture. There's a ton of different options out there. As far as aesthetically, we give our clients all those options. However, if we have a driver box to use the low voltage, we have to hide that somewhere. And whether we hide it under a sink or in a basement ceiling with a drop ceiling, or in a cabinet up top where no one's going to go, we have to hide it somewhere accessible by code. And so with that, if someone has an old carburetor and they don't want to use it anymore, but they have a switch, we can take power from that and abandon the carburetor and utilize that switch and that power to run for the under cabinet lighting, which oftentimes is a pretty budget-friendly approach. However, if we do have to add a new circuit for the lighting because there's nothing nearby we can take it off of, we do have to open up the drywall. Tesla came out with wireless electricity hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, I don't know where.
However, that got forgotten about, and it's not really feasible.
I didn't even know about that. Okay.
If you guys figure out wireless electricity, give us a call.
Magic.
Get rich together. But short of the long is that we got to get cabling there. If we have to get wiring there, we have to get lighting there. We have to get the wires there, and if there's no other safe path, drywall does have to be opened.
Okay.
All right, guys, that's it. What we got today here. Again, this is Ryan with Hauer Power Electrical, powering customer service, bringing power to this great city of ours, one local Edmonton home at a time. So whether you're in Sherwood Park, Spruce Grove, Stony Plain, or whether you got a beautiful neighborhood like Ada Boulevard, get us in your kitchen, get us working for you, and let's get it done right. And we also have
Jared with Triple M Painting. The 3M stand for Modern Meticulous Mastery. Hit us up in the Edmonton area.
And I'm Oscar Hunsberg with the Tile Experts, creating a sense of awe in everything we do. See you on the next one.
Peace.